Consolidation loans, debt settlement, bankruptcy. Which one actually saves you the most time and money? I'll compare the real costs, risks, benefits side by side for each of these options so you can choose what works best for you. I'm Judah Zakalik, founding partner of PandA Law. At PandA, we help people compare all options and not make one-size-fits-all promises so they can try to make the best decision for them and their family to get out of debt. Here's my short disclaimer. Laws are very specific state by state and also can change over time. Today, I'm giving you information on Nevada-specific rules as of September 2025. These things can change based upon where you live or what time it is. Please consult a local attorney. So let's talk about the three main ways to get out of debt outside of just paying it all off. First, debt consolidation loans. This is where you get one loan to pay off all the other credit cards, personal loans, payday loans you may have. Well, we have to watch out for what's the origination cost, how much does it cost for the loan? Number two, what's the interest rate on that loan? Number three, how long is it going to take for you to pay it off? And how is it going to affect your credit score? Number two, we have debt settlement. This is where we informally negotiate with your creditors to get the balances down and to get you on affordable payment plans. Well, what's the cost for that? How long is that going to take? And how's it going to affect your credit score? We'll get into the specific math on both these options here in a moment, but if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments and we'll be sure to respond. If you have specific questions that are more private in nature, please email us at questions@pandalawfirm.com or visit our website, pandalawfirm.com, to set up a free confidential consultation with one of our attorneys. The third option being bankruptcy, consumer bankruptcies, Chapter 7s versus Chapter 13s. Chapter 7 wipes out all the debt, pretty clean, quick and easy, takes a couple months. Chapter 13, reorganization repayment plan that can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So let's do some side-by-side kind of real-life comparisons so you can understand how this actually will affect you. So let's take an example of $30,000 in credit card debt, and right now you're paying a 25% annual interest rate on that. On a consolidation loan, 13% annual percentage rate over 60 months, which means you're gonna have a payment of around $683 a month. For a total over 60 months is $40,956 you're going to pay to get rid of $30,000 in debt. So you're gonna pay about $10,956, almost $11,000 in interest for that debt consolidation loan. Well, people used to think the benefit was that it was better on your FICO score, but that changed in January 2020 when FICO introduced algorithm number 8, I believe it is. And what they saw was that debt consolidation loans were often a precursor to a bankruptcy. People get a debt consolidation loan as like a last-minute option to avoid bankruptcy. But often they don't avoid bankruptcy because of the debt consolidation loan because they don't get out of debt and they're still paying interest. Here, you're paying about $11,000. So now a debt consolidation loan hits your FICO score very similar to a bankruptcy. So what's the upside of a debt consolidation loan? You're still paying back all the debt, you're still paying interest, you're still paying costs, it still negatively affects your credit, you're still gonna be in it for a number of years. Well, the only possible upside is perhaps it's better than paying a 25% annual interest rate. You know, in our example, you've got it down to 13%. Next, debt settlement programs. So let's also assume $30,000 in credit card debt. Well, you stop paying that, we start negotiating with them, we threaten bankruptcy, we threaten legal defense. All these things create uncertainty in the creditor's mind, and they'd rather have a bird in hand versus two in the bush, right? We've all heard that phrase. So when we do this, when you stop paying them, hold back that carrot, when we threaten the stick of bankruptcy and legal defense, we're gonna get these on average settled for around 45% of the balance. Now at PandA, our fee is less than any debt settlement company, national or local, that I've ever seen, and will beat any fee if you bring it to us in writing. But let's just say our fee in this scenario is around 20% of the enrolled debt. So here, you know, a fee of around $6,000. So you're gonna pay around $19,500 to get rid of the $30,000. And if you're current at the time you enroll with us, you're really gonna have about 24 to 30 months to budget for that, which normally is equal to whatever your minimum payments are, sometimes a little bit less. Let's take a look at the third option, bankruptcy. Well, you know, oftentimes if a client qualifies for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, often referred to as a fresh start bankruptcy, that's what I'm gonna recommend to them because it's the best option. To me, in my mind, best meaning quickest, easiest, least stressful, most guaranteed, and least expensive. So if you can qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, get rid of that $30,000. Most attorneys are gonna charge somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 to get rid of it, so you're just gonna pay like a tenth, $3,000 to get rid of $30,000. Makes sense, takes 3 to 4 months. You're normally gonna keep everything you have. Keep your house, keep your cars. Normally you're not gonna lose anything. And at PandA Law, we have a credit rebuild afterwards. Within 2 years, you can even buy a house. If you don't qualify for a 7 and you still want to do a bankruptcy, then we're talking about a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which is normally going to be a reorganization and repayment plan over 5 years. You're going to pay whatever your household can afford for a maximum of 5 years or until all the debt gets repaid back, whatever happens first. About 85% of the time, when I'm comparing debt settlement, which we also do at PandA, to bankruptcy, debt settlement is better than a bankruptcy Chapter 13, but not as good as a bankruptcy 7. So in my mind, normally how it works out, best way to go, I'm going to throw debt consolidation loans out the window because I don't see any benefit to those. But we're looking at Chapter 7, normally the best way to go. After that, if you don't qualify for that, debt settlement. If not that, then Chapter 13. Now, sometimes those things can vary, but that's why you come talk to us. We'll give you a free consultation. We'll dig into the details, find out what's best for you and your family. So I know I've thrown a lot at you. Just so I make sure we're on the same page, here's the reality check if you're just paying minimums. So minimum payments, $30,000 in debt, 25% annual interest rate means that at 2%, if you're only paying 2% on your minimums, and minimums are normally 2 to 3%, that's a $600 a month payment just on minimums, which means that you're probably going to keep on getting interest tacked on to your principal balance each month. Normally, if you're paying on $30,000 in debt, 25% annual interest rate, you're going to be paying at least $625 a month in interest. But your minimum payment's only $600 a month. So every month, $25 gets tacked onto that principal. You can't ever get off that hamster wheel. If you give a fixed payment of $750 a month, right, greater than maybe what the minimums are, not 2% but 3% on $30,000 at a 25% annual interest rate, that gives you a payoff of about 87 months. Okay, 87 months, if I do that math correctly, we're talking a little bit over 7 years. And you're gonna be paying interest of a little over $35,000, which means to get rid of that $30,000 is gonna take you 7 years and you're gonna pay $65,000. Let's just compare that once again to the debt settlement scenario, which is gonna cost you around $19,000 and you're gonna be done in 24 months. So $19,000 versus $65,000, 24 months versus 7 years. You can do that math pretty easily. So let's talk about the credit score, life impact a little bit for each of these 3 options. Number 1, debt consolidation loan. We already talked about how it's going to impact your FICO score, pretty similar to a bankruptcy ever since January 2020 with FICO algorithm number 8. One of the benefits for you for life is it's simple. Instead of paying all these different creditors, you're just gonna pay this one creditor, the debt consolidation loan company. I will often tell you though, I see clients who come into me with credit card debt, personal loan debt, and debt consolidation loans because they tried to use that debt consolidation loan before seeing me. It didn't help. All they did was get that loan, they paid off the other debt, and then that other debt crept back up again. So they essentially doubled their debt. Let's talk about settlement for a second, debt settlement. Your FICO score is gonna dip while we're settling, but as we settle these debts, and we're gonna settle them incrementally, one by one as you save up money, as we settle them, that credit line is going to show as settled for less or paid as agreed, which closes that negative credit line, and then your credit score will rebound, start to heal itself incrementally as we go along. So you're probably talking about, after we get done with each settlement, about a 24-month rebuild after that. So if the debt settlement program takes 24 months and then, 24 months for rebuild, maybe 4 years kind of maximum before your credit score gets to back where you wanted it. Bankruptcy Chapter 7. As we talked about, PandA Law has a unique credit rebuild system afterwards. So the bankruptcy Chapter 7 itself takes 3 to 4 months. Pretty simple. We just get rid of all the debt through there. You keep everything you have. We'll normally have you back up to a 650 to 680 FICO score within 6 months after the bankruptcy. You can get credit card offers, car loans within that time period if you'd like. Within 2 years, most of our clients are normally above a 700 FICO, and you can even qualify for an FHA home loan 2 years after the bankruptcy, 1 year for VA loans. With the bankruptcy Chapter 13, that's the 5-year reorganization repayment plan. You can actually qualify for a new car purchase or a new home purchase after you make 1 year of on-time payments in that Chapter 13. Important note about the credit rebuilds. We're not going to be removing these things from your credit, right? They're still going to show as settled for less or gone through a bankruptcy. We're just going to show you how to rebuild that FICO as soon as possible. What works best for you and your family? Things that you have to think about is, well, the ease of the program. How long is it going to take for you to get done? How much money you're going to save? What the time looks like to rebuild your credit afterwards, perhaps what tax ramifications there are. And when you go to speak to someone about that, whatever professional you go to speak to, make sure they offer more than just one of these options. because you want to speak to them about multiple options so they can create a program that fits for you and your circumstances. If you only go to a law firm that offers bankruptcy, all they're going to talk about is bankruptcy. If you only go to a debt settlement company that offers you debt settlement, all they're going to talk to you about is debt settlement. But maybe you need a bankruptcy when you went to the debt settlement company. Maybe you need to do debt settlement when you went to the bankruptcy attorney. You'll never know unless you talk to a professional service provider that provides multiple options. And as always, the sooner you seek advice, the better off you're going to be. Remember the old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Come see us sooner than later. It'll turn out better for you in regards to your credit, amount of money saved, and the stress level you're gonna feel. So just to recap some of these things, debt consolidation, debt settlement, bankruptcy. Consolidation is simpler, but it's gonna cost you more time and more money, right? And it's still gonna have a negative impact on your credit. Debt settlement, a little bit more risky, but it's gonna save you money. It's gonna be shorter, right? No risk, no reward, right? And if you're gonna do debt settlement, contact a local attorney that does that work so they can navigate the local legal procedures. And then you have bankruptcy. Well, if you qualify for that Chapter 7, you won't lose anything. That's a really smart way to go. Quick, easy, inexpensive. With the right law firm, you can do a credit rebuild afterwards. If not, there also is the Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which is 5 years where you make a payment to the trustee and they disperse it. Kind of similar to debt consolidation, but it can actually save you money. So if I'm ranking them from best to worst, Chapter 7, debt settlement, Chapter 13, debt consolidation. So when I'm sitting down with a client and we're trying to find the best path forward, what we're looking at, what saves you the most money, what's done in the shortest amount of time, what's best for your personality, right? And then what meets your budget and financial goals. I appreciate you watching this video and look forward to seeing you in the next one.